When you are reading Chinese diplomatic matters, the way they are dealing with the world matters, you will see that words mean a lot than what you are seeing on the surface. Because Chinese, they don't just talk wire, but they speak with actions.
This is decoupling. If the United States wants to really welcome this, China will reciprocate. What China now declares is that it is prepared to fight to the end. Trade war, tariff war, technology war, or real war. So the ball is in Trump's court. You decide, and I will reciprocate. I will never succumb to the US pressure. And this is the moment of truth. China wants to defend free trade. The United States wants to destroy free trade.
Right.
The rest of the world is watching, and there will be a choice by the end of the day.
In March, the second time that Trump had increased tariff on China, China in their statement said that strong desertification. So they were not that happy. But then that same tariff increased by 34%. Then the language changed to another level because this time China firmly opposed US tax tariff. This might sound like something simple to neglect, of course, maybe for some other people, but not for China, because for China, it was a very strong message which they were trying to send to the US government by saying that for how long will we have to tolerate this kind of nonsense? And how far are you willing to take this?
Well, first of all, doing business is fine, but doing business by holding a gun at your head is not acceptable. Not to China, but for China, you cannot hold a gun to China's head and issue ultimatum and demand all the impossibilities, for example, and ask China to swallow that. So if you want to hold a gun at China's head, China will hold a gun at your head. If you want to strike China in the cheek, China will strike you back. That's the decision and the determination of the Chinese nation. This is not belligerency. This is the minimum decency you need to apply to international relations. How can you demand other countries, I will slap you in the face, don't slap me back, otherwise I will punish you more? That's the law of the jungle.
Well, that did not stop there, because in another statement, China said that it is good to properly resolve differences between partners in a good negotiation. But now it is all different.
Hundreds of billions of dollars a year they're making us on trade. I have great respect for China, but they can't do this.
When Trump threatened China with the 50% tariff on Chinese goods in the US for the fact that China, they've been opposing all this US tax tariff. Well, this time China did not just firmly oppose on what US they have done to them. This time they went even far by saying that this is a mistake on top of a mistake. And these characters here, Aicha, that's how you say expulsion in Chinese language.
中方必将奉陪到底。
Guys, what I'm trying to say here is that this is what we call a blind language in politics.
They are much more comfortable these days in using language to signal political discontent and political anger.
Based on the lack of respect China has shown to the world market, I am hereby raising the tariff charged by the United States of America to 125%.
I know what the hell I'm doing, because I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir.
China wants to be a partner of the United States rather than being a slave of the United States. If you want to impose war on China, you get war. If you want to destroy China, you get destroyed. If you want to bomb China out with nuclear weapons, you will be wiped out with nuclear weapons.
This simply means to say China is willing to do anything possible in order for them to stand against the US world tariff. They are willing to do anything possible to protect their sovereignty.
China's sovereignty, security, and development interests are inviolable. We will continue to take firm and forceful measures to safeguard our legitimate rights and interests.
Like it or not, China, they have also retaliated a lot of things on the US market, starting from their finance, goods, and different things which the US say they're supposed to be benefiting from China. But China also stand up with their 84% tariff. But that is not all, because China have another lever, and this lever was boosting their economy, which is TikTok.
As of today, TikTok is back. I think we would have a joint venture with the people from TikTok. So I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok.
So here's the thing. TikTok is very popular in the US. And this had left this administration to have a very strong feeling about TikTok, because they feel like since this product is very useful to Americans, they want to make sure that it should belong to Americans. On the other side, Chinese, they don't want to let go of this TikTok.
TikTok is a huge company, but it's owned by a Chinese parent company called ByteDance.
The USA, they've been trying to buy TikTok for so long, but China keep on refusing. For the fact that China keep on refusing, the US insisted on how things should be run around.
The president seems optimistic, saying he's working with multiple bidders.
Do you think there's going to be a deal on TikTok soon?
There could be. We're dealing with 4 different groups, and a lot of people want it.
According to the New York Times this week, the article says that under the plan, new investors would own 50% of a new American TikTok entity, while Chinese owners would retain less than 20%. Well, it seemed like Beijing was comfortable with the idea. All of a sudden, that changed. According to the New York Times, it says that the deal was being cut off.
Reporters that we had a deal pretty much with TikTok. Not a deal, but pretty close. And then China changed the deal because of tariffs.
Beijing uses a multi-pronged economic coercion playbook, and they're deploying the entire kit against the United States.
We will continue to take resolute and strong measures to safeguard our legitimate rights and interests.
But that is just one political example. Now, imagine what else these two countries they are up to, or what else they are planning in order for them to prove to the world who's the strongest economy around the whole world. But remember when Donald Trump wants to establish a sovereign World Bank?
It's a very exciting event. We're going to have a sovereign wealth fund, which we've never had. I think in a short period of time, we'd have one of the biggest funds.
Well, the idea here was for the government to establish a giant big bank. This giant big bank was not only gonna collect some coins or US dollar or anything like that, no, but it was gonna also be connected to the stock market. For as far I know, that project have not gone anywhere, and that is the reason why Donald Trump have increased up even a lot of tariff around the world, stop all the US ads all over around the world, because this money Donald Trump wanted to use it for this sovereign piggy bank. Donald Trump is doing all this because he wants to defeat China in the stock market. Oh yes, because China have it all.
From your phone to your car to the planes in the sky, everything is made from China has vowed to fight to the end.
They basically have the potential for unlimited intervention in the market.
Oh yes, the same sovereign piggy bank that found Alibaba to come to the position of beating Amazon. Over 200 billion US dollar, which has kept Chinese on the top of stock market.
They have intervened in the stock market in the past to keep prices from falling, and they can certainly do so again.
Trump is trying to use this same piggy bank money to do as China does with their central bank, to finance all this small business in order for them to stand on their own. But again, how can you do all this if it does not have this big giant bank? Now, with all this being said, what is Trump trying to do so far? Trump is trying to dig something, but digging in what exactly? China knew very well that the coming of Donald Trump in the White House, it will put them in a very big trouble when it comes to the world economies and all the position which China they've been considering so far.
China benefits from how the global economic order works right now. If many economies are in trouble, then that's not going to be good for China. But politically, rhetorically, Beijing likely sees an opening.
China is using this crisis to portray itself as a global force in terms of trade, but also a much more reliable partner than the United States.
This is our globe. An imperfect world. There is violence, hegemonism, greed.
I want you to watch this video. Call it as you wish, maybe a propaganda or what, but this video was posted by a Chinese foreign minister. He posted this video on the same day when Donald Trump had announced this tariff.
Suppression, provocation, tariffs. Do you want to live in a world like this? Or a world like this? No war. Security for all. Equality among nations.
China has been working for years to undercut the liberal international order and to argue, particularly among developing countries, that China is a better partner than the United States and other democracies because China doesn't make demands. It doesn't demand that you get your human rights regime in order, that you improve government governance, that you deal with your environmental challenges. China will just show up with cash.
Again, you can call it as a propaganda from China or anything like that. But looking this video very well, you will see that there's a message behind it, which China was trying to pass to the world out there concerning the USA and China's.
We do not wish to fight, but we are also not afraid of fighting. If the United States really wants to solve the problem through dialogue and negotiation, it should stop threatening and blackmailing and speak with China on the basis of equality, respect, and mutual benefit.
But why China is saying all this? Because they feel they are being provoked by the United States of America. They feel like United States is trying to poison the mind of Chinese partners all over around the world for what China have been doing with these people, because when the United States comes in, they come up with a strategy of trying to make China look like a bad people who are having dictators who can be in power for so long and no one have to say something against them.
Ultimately, they have to make a deal because otherwise they're not going to be able to deal in the United States. And we want them involved. 145% is very high, and it won't be that high. It's not going to be that high. It got up to there. We were talking about fentanyl, where, you know, various elements built it up to 145. No, it won't be anywhere near that high.
Also, the United States of America is trying to destroy the reputation of China because China have a lot of options all over around the world.
China has more options than the United States. If their exports shrink a little bit, they can partially offset that by increasing domestic demand through more government expenditures, tax cuts, other kinds of policies that are readily available. The United States, on the other hand, does not have so many options because a lot of the things we buy from China, we can't get anywhere else.
To simplify all this for you, you must know that China is well aware of its influence around the world.
China's answer is, we should work for an equal and orderly multipolar world.
This speech was given in the same war where the U.S. Vice President had to declare a simple war, not only against China, but against BRICS.
In Britain and across Europe, free speech, I fear, is in retreat. If you're running in fear of your own voters, there is nothing America can do for you.
When the US was busy burning bridges, China was trying to construct a bridge all over around the world. From Africa to Cuba, from Cuba to Panama, China have managed to win the soul of all these people. And that is where the anger of the USA comes from.
China is the most imbalanced economy in the history of the modern world, and they are the biggest source of the U.S. trade problems. And indeed, they are problems for the rest of the world, because what we've seen is that as the U.S. announced the tariff wall last week, many of those goods have already started flooding into Europe.
Here I want to make 4 points. First, it is important to advocate equal treatment. Second, it is important to respect international rule of law. Third, it is important to practice multilateralism. Fourth, it is important to pursue openness and mutual benefit.
China has been trying to position itself as a reasonable, benevolent, potential world leader, providing an alternative to liberal democratic ideals and dominance, and that a Chinese-led world order will be an equal accepting place for all types of governments.
So this war will continue like this for time to come until when the world will have the new currency. Talking about the new currency, I think that's where BRICS need to come in. BRICS have promised the world having a new currency. We have been saying here for most of the time that what is motivating these people, what is giving the US more power, is for the fact that they are having the US dollar as the world trade currency. The day when this US dollar will be removed from the market, you will see. For an example, look at what just happened. Trump launched this trade war against everyone around the world. Yes, it did indeed affect a lot of business, a lot of economies, a lot of activities around the world. People suffer while Donald Trump was busy celebrating on how they were winning about $2 billion a day.
We don't necessarily want to make a deal with them. We're happy the way we are, taking our $2 billion a day.
Donald Trump believes China is the biggest threat in the world. He believes that they're building a ferocious military not to defend themselves, but to spread communism and their ideology all over the world and to dominate the world's economy. You can't fight them militarily because it's nuclear Armageddon. So what Trump has decided to do is strangle China economically, beat them in the industries. He wants to diminish their power.
Trump is busy celebrating about all this, forgetting his own partners, the Europeans, who seem to be very heartbroken and disappointed in their friendship because they are not sitting and just observing everything like this, but they are actually planning for something in order for them to come back very hard on Donald Trump.
The strategy, as I hear it from diplomats in Brussels, is to wait a little bit and let the market chaos soften up the Trump administration. If this keeps going, it will pile pressure on him, and the Europeans will return with further retaliation against the tariffs. The idea now is to try to negotiate, is to try to find a deal. But from everything I've heard here, Europe is fully prepared to come back with another round of retaliatory tariffs if there is no room for negotiation.
The response that will come from all these countries, it is something which will affect Americans very badly. Proof to that, Donald Trump stopped this tariff for 3 months and called for his cabinet meeting.
We had in history, it was the biggest day in history, the markets. So we're very happy with the way the country is running.
The president made a big show of inviting cameras into the cabinet meeting, while the secretaries cooed about how well things were going.
We're getting the respect we deserve now, and I think you're going to see historic deals, one after the other.
China is the country that values dignity and decency and honor more than economic gains or economic losses. So if you want to hold a gun at China's head, China will hold a gun at your head. If you want to strike China in the cheek, China will strike you back. That's the decision and the determination of the Chinese nation. This is not belligerency. This is the minimum decency you need to apply to international relations. How can you demand other countries, I will slap you in the face, don't slap me back, otherwise I will punish you more. That's the law of the jungle.
Now guys, with all this being said, I have this simple question that I want to ask each one of you. For how long will the world have to continue to suffer this kind of behaviors? For how long will the world have to endure this kind of treatment from someone who have to be seated somewhere in the White House and giving the whole entire world this kind of treatment? Don't you guys think that it's about time, us as Africans, we can come together and be united? Don't you think that it's about time for us as Africans, we can come up with our own currency? Don't you think that it's about time us as Africans, we can at least start trading among ourselves so that we can stop this kind of treatment coming from Donald Trump? Don't you think that we can also stand on with our minerals as Africans and say that, okay, Trump have said this about his tariff, well, this is also our tariff when it comes to our mineral resources, when it comes to our diamonds, when it comes to our coltans or gold or name it, because the list is too long. And this all our minerals, we can come and say that from now on, this is the tariff of our minerals. Why do we have to allow these people to come and tell us the price of our own minerals, where to sell it to, and what to use that money for? Yet they're the same one who are coming and telling us on how the things have to be done around. For me, it is very pity when I get to see some of African leaders begging Donald Trump, saying that no, we are going to suffer, we need to negotiate with Donald Trump, when we have also something that we can use against Donald Trump. Dear Africans, it's about time we come up and use our brain to think on how to deal with this kind of matters with this kind of leaders. I hope this message is loud and clear. I hope you have learned something in this video. Share your thought with us in the comment section. We'll be looking forward to that. Above all, don't leave this video without you subscribing and liking this video in your numbers. We'll really do appreciate that. I believe that will be all for now. Continue to be yourself. Be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon in our next video. Ciao, ciao.